Hi, today we're going to talk about the new DIY Cottage colors. Hi, I'm Myra with Boutique Paint. Beautiful new colors. This is Providence. This is Plum Pudding. This one is Pacific. This one is Barn Quilt, excuse me. This one is the Anvil, and this one is Juniper. And they're beautiful colors, and they have they're all in one, so they have the top coat built into it. So you can see the sheen. That is that top coat. So what I want to do is kind of talk about why bringing the black in is so important, but also what can you do with these, and what can you do with these with the regular DIY paints. So let's get started. I have a couple boards here that I stained already, so it looks like furniture. And so the first thing I want to do is I'm going to paint this one black, or the Anvil. And I shake them up ahead of time just to get it mixed good. And then I'm going to take a popsicle stick or craft stick, and I'm going to mix it up further. Now I'm going to stir it. So we're just going to paint this board here. And it goes on really nice. And I just stain these boards just more because when you're working with furniture, it's usually got the stain still on it, and you don't always want to worry about sanding it all the way back. I know a lot of people do. That's just work. That is just work. I don't know about you. I don't want to be doing that. I mean, I have, but oh my goodness, yeah. So we're going to do things so that we can worry about being creative and having fun doing pieces of furniture, as opposed to, or crafts. You can use this with your crafts, obviously, but you know, so you enjoy the process. Because I'm taking a baby wipe, and I already went ahead and dried the first coat of this, and I was about ready to put the second coat, but I want to wipe this back a little bit, just kind of on these high spots, so that the underneath wood shows through. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint it again, and I'm going to paint the whole thing. Okay, so this is dry now. And one of the reasons why I was so excited, and I was really pushing and asking, I think there was a couple of us really asking for a black in the Cottage colors, is because it's such a classic color. And I'll show you here a picture of a piece I did, which was turned out really pretty. I painted this black, and then just like I'm showing you here, I did a white back to expose the original wood, and it just gives a really pretty dramatic effect to do it this way. Yeah, black is just a classic color. It's a quick, easy color to just paint and move on. And so having it with the built-in top coat obviously just makes that process then so much easier too. So I'm just wiping this back. So the reason why I'm showing you this is because I want to show you that, you know, even with this product, you can do white back. You can show the stain underneath on a piece. And this is mostly dry. There's, in the cracks, it's still wet. So you can see how pretty that is with some of the wood showing through. So next, what you could do also, you could leave it like this, but I'm going to go one step further, and I'm going to take some DIY's regular paint in Farm Fresh, and I'm going to grab another paintbrush, and I'm going to go over the top of this. Right there, that's kind of a cool look too. You know, just a barely light color over it. ahead and put my second coat on here. Now, you can do this with DIY paint. You could just do the layering like I'm doing, but you would have to put a top coat on the first layer. So you would put on the black. If you used, let's say, little black dress, you would put on the little black dress, then you would have a top coat of big top, and then you would have to put the DIY paint over the top of that, your second color. So this kind of skips a step, which is cool, because skipping steps is always, you know, speeds things up, especially if you're doing a large piece. You know, that takes time. So I'm not going to paint this perfectly, but I am going to dry this up again. Now I'm coming back and I'm going to wipe back. And I'm just using a baby wipe here. But I want some of my wood to show. I want some of the black to show. And you just wipe back depending on the look you want. So right there, you've got 3 different colors. And the next one, what I want to do, I'm going to do it on this one here, is I'm going to experiment because I haven't tried this yet. So I'm kind of excited about trying this. I'm going to take some DIY white wax. And I'm just going to put some on my fingernail there. And I'm just going to put some of it like on a few spots. And then I'm going to try on the other side, I'm going to use a candle. And I'm going to do basically the same thing. I'm just going to kind of rub this on different areas. I'm doing mostly the high spots, but just kind of random. All right. I'm going to dry this real quick because I don't want it, it'll just smear in there. So when I mean dry, I don't mean with the heat. I mean on the cool setting of the hairdryer, because it will just melt it and it just turns into a gloppy mess. I think for this one, let's try a different color just so you can see the colors. And you could still do the layers with this technique. So you could do this paint and then you could do a secondary paint and wipe it back. Once again, I'm going to dry this with a cool hair dryer. And do the second coat here. Look how pretty that is. Now, you can obviously keep adding to the layers, but I'm doing thin coats of this. Now I'm going to take a paint scraper and just go along and lightly, and where the wax was, it's just going to peel back. And you can see this is the wax here that's peeling back. So it's very light, but it shows you then the undercolor, which is your wood. Now this side, I'm not sure if this is going to work. Oh, it's working too. Nice. So see there, you can see. So that's another way to get color to come through. Wiping is usually easiest, but if you're layering different layers with each step, so say you want to put another color on here, you can go ahead and put another thing of wax over on top, do a next layer, and so on and so forth, and just keep layering up. So for this next one, I'm going to use Provincial, which is just such a lovely color. One thing that you do need to remember with this paint is it dries darker, where DIY paint, the regular clay-based paint, dries lighter when it dries. So this will darken up. So you look at that and you go, well, especially with the 8-ounce, the new 8-ounce of the original colors. If you look at crockery in the container, it's a very slight beige, but once it dries, it's darker, quite a bit darker. So pay attention to that. Usually any of the DIY retailers, at least in their stores, will show you their little tag will have the color on it. So here, I'm going to show you 2 ways that you could do this, or tell you 2 ways that you could do this. You could spray this first, and then you could take Provincial or whatever color, and you can just go over. And you're just doing kind of a wash. Just like that. I'm going to let that just sit for a minute, kind of soak in. The other thing you could do is you could take a little bit of this, and I'm just going to do it quickly in a Dixie cup. It's kind of messy. Don't need to do a whole lot, and then add a little bit of water, and it doesn't need to be a lot of water, just enough to kind of make it more liquidy and more of a wash. And the nice thing also about a wash is you could dab it on a piece like this with like a sea sponge or a rag and just dab it on there, and it'll give you a whole different effect. So I am just going to grab a paper towel. And I'm going to rub it on here. So pretty much the same effect you're going to get. You know, it just depends on how you want to do it. If you're doing a big piece, this might be in the long run a little bit easier. You are kind of wiping it on and off at the same time. So here's 2 of the boards that we've painted. And this one's, I just love the look of this because you've got the wood, you've got a little bit of the black, you've got your top color, and then you've got the black here. I'm going to go ahead and wax this. And I know if you watch any of my videos, I love using the dark and decrepit dust, but this time I'm going to go ahead and use some wax, just so you can see. Look how pretty that is. So on this one, we don't have to wax it. And the reason why is because it's just the cottage color over the top. And so you can go ahead then and add some of your dark wax and some of your white wax. This is actually the dust. You could add some of that. You would, if you want to put wax or dust, you will have to add wax. So I got my white wax, I got my dark wax. If your wax does that, it's okay. It's just that it's separated up a little bit, and just kind of, you can do it with a stick instead of your brush. I abuse my brushes. Just put a little bit on there, and then just on a piece of cardboard or a paper, and then you just come in here and you can add some of the wax. And it's just very subtle, just kind of adds a little bit. You can kind of get crevices if you want. So on this side, let's try a little bit of white, just so you can see what that looks like. And obviously, because this is a darker color, the white is really showing up, right? So we're going to take a paper towel or a rag, and you're going to wipe it back. But very pretty effect. This one, same thing. I'm going to add a little bit of the dark wax. Just gonna wipe it back a little bit, but you can see it's in there. Let's try a little white wax on this side just to see. So I wanted to show you these dried. This is 24 hours later, and you can see how it will look once it is dried after you've put on the wax. But they turned out really quite beautiful. If you have any questions about any of the products I used, you can go to our website at www.boutiquepaint.com, or you can leave any questions in the comments below. And thank you so much for joining me. Bye.